We're going to start off with the guy who's trending at the moment. We've got loads to talk about tonight. We were just talking about McTominay and Pogba before we went live, so we will talk about those. But Pochettino has been on Monday Night Football, is probably still on it actually, and said that he's itching to get back into football, speaking glowingly about David De Gea. Obviously, he would want the Manchester United job. What I would say is that it's not a coincidence. This has not been planned by Sky. He was already going on Monday Night Football before we played Arsenal, because I mentioned it and said, if we don't beat Arsenal, it's going to be all about this. So I think Ollie's got himself to blame, really, because if he'd won yesterday, this Pochettino chat wouldn't even be happening. It's all because of the result yesterday. But we'll start off with you, Kev, because obviously we've heard from Beth and Ricky about the game yesterday. Do you feel that with Pochettino, it's now sort of becoming inevitable? And I say that in the sense that, do you genuinely believe, I know we're all pretty much want Ollie to succeed, but a lot of people I've spoken to in the last 24 hours are like, I want him to, but I can't get over that result yesterday. Ollie out, but I just don't think he's going to be the right man. What do you think about that? And this Pochettino is there, isn't he?
Yeah. And as I said the other week when I was speaking, I said, as well as Pochettino is waiting in the wings, he's not fixed up at another club, United will be continued to be linked with him. And this obviously falls in because of the shocking performances recently. Since I've been back on this show, we've, the Chelsea game we looked at, I think I started by saying he set up far too negative, showed far too much respect to Chelsea. Then we have a brilliant result midweek, which I don't think many person would have had 5-0 down. But then he's changed the team yesterday. We were talking in previous shows, Ricky even said about shoehorning players in. It's all about getting the blend right in the midfield, a system that works. And for him to change it totally yesterday, I mean, I honestly was embarrassed the way Man United performed yesterday. I think Roy Keane summed up what a lot of Man United fans thought after that game. And it's down to the fact that, yes, Solskjaer picks a team and sends them players out, but man for man out there against Arsenal, to run out over that white line wearing that, that badge, you should play for the shirt. The least you expect is a bit of effort, a bit of running around, look lively, for Christ's sake. It was absolutely pathetic.
You just know on that, Kev, just come back on that for a moment, because it was something I wanted to talk about in a bit more in depth. But is that not a damning verdict on Solskjaer, that these players clearly don't respect him? They don't respect us. I don't think they respect the club. They just don't. Yeah. You don't, like Roy Keane's right, you don't go out against Arsenal and hide behind tactics and stuff like that. But it does reflect on Ollie that, or do you not think there is a manager that can get what we need out of these players?
Well, we've had this problem since Sir Alex Ferguson left Manchester United. We've had players that have down tools under David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, and even Jose Mourinho. So, is it a mindset thing? Is there egos? Is there cliques in the dressing room that these managers cannot? The players are just, player power's massive in football at the minute. We were lucky to have Sir Alex Ferguson there so long. He ran the roost. Whatever he said, if you didn't like it, the likes of Beckham, Jaap Stam, Ruud van Nistelrooy, they were moved on. Ferguson seen the bigger picture. But at Manchester United at the minute, I'm convinced there's cliques inside that dressing room. And it's been going on for years. Like I say, previous managers, previous regimes, Roy Keane knocked the nail on the head yesterday when he said these players, which a lot of them have been around for previous regimes, they're going to throw Solskjaer under the bus again. You can see that it's actually going to happen. Pochettino is waiting in the wings. A lot of fans want to see Solskjaer succeed. We love him. Obviously, he's a club legend and that. But as much as results continue like this, the players won't be sold and moved on. It will be Solskjaer. And that's the sad thing. But, the Glazers and Woodward will make a decision. Will it be football-based? No, it's going to be financial, isn't it? The minute we're starting to look like we're not going to get in at the top four, they'll pull the trigger and the next manager will come in. They'll panic.
Because there's strong rumours that certain players that are still in that starting lineup did force Mourinho out, and that's where the club went with. Beth, these rumours about Poch tonight, if people don't know about it, we knew Pochettino was going to be on Sky Sports Monday Night Football. I think as soon as we had a bad result against Arsenal, it was inevitable what was going to happen. He's come out, he's itching to come back. He's got a nice, long, relaxed hair. There's no grey. He clearly wants a job in the Premier League. What are your thoughts on that now? You've had a bit of time since the match yesterday. Do you feel that there's an air of inevitability about this? Would you like Poch at the club? And do you believe that Solskjaer, can, not turn it around? Because I think we all know, like Kev says, we probably will win a couple of games, but the problem is consistent. What are you thinking, Beth?
I mean, I agree on that point. I back Solskjaer. I want him to do well. I like him, but I mean, one place off relegation at this point in the season isn't acceptable, is it? And obviously, it's not going to come to the players. It is going to come to the manager. And inevitably, how many more losses can he have, especially at home, until it is inevitable that he gets sacked? And then if he does, what many options are there out there? I think there only is Pochettino, really. And he did do quite a good job with Tottenham. I mean, there's question marks whether he's a big top six manager. But I thought he laid in the groundwork at Tottenham really well. And he did get them to a final of the Champions League. I mean, I want Solskjaer to do well, but I don't think it's not just him. There's many factors. There's the board, for one. There is him. He keeps chopping and changing it and not sticking to one style of play, accepting the losses and trying to build on it and improve that style of play. He keeps changing it. So that is on Solskjaer. And it's the mindset of the players. I mean, you see players there, like Arsenal looked 10 times more up for it than us yesterday. They were crashing into tackles, going into Rashford. You didn't see any of our players put a proper tackle in. I mean, you saw players actually ducking out of tackles. I mean, you saw people going to the floor and you just don't see leadership out there. We've got basically no leaders. I mean, I could probably name 2 leaders in that whole team, and that's not good enough. And that's not going to win you games. It's certainly not going to win you a title, and it certainly isn't going to get you top 4.
I think it would be interesting. Somebody just said there, Chuck Roy Keane in the dressing room. I don't think it would last long, but I think it would be interesting, because I think maybe not as the manager, but as the assistant coach, if he'd do it, I think Ollie almost does need that, because I agree with what Dylan Taylor says. Ollie's not the problem, but he's not the solution. And I think that's sort of where I sit at the moment, Ricky. But to those people who are Ollie out, 1 point from 12 at home. And if we go back to last season, I think we drew our last 2 at home. So 3 points from 18 at Old Trafford. I don't care who you are. That is sacking form, isn't it? He's had 100 games. I know he got a third, and I wouldn't sack him, but you can sort of see why people are saying, he's never going to be the man. And actually, when you look at the form recently, are we just going to hide behind there's no fans in the ground? Because that, again, feeds in what's said to Kev. These players don't respect him. They're never going to respect him. If he's not the man to get the best out of these players, surely it's not looking good for him.
It's been absolute disastrous run of form. I said it when I was on the show after we'd won 4 games on the bounce 3-0, and everyone else who was on the show at the time was saying, we'll get 9 points from Crystal Palace, West Ham and Southampton. I said, we won't. This will not continue. We were playing at the time with Greenwood and Rashford on the flanks. It's no good. It's still no good. And it isn't going to work. We're playing with forwards who are not too good enough at holding the ball up and bringing people into play, especially if Marshall's not there. And then there's not enough defending. There's not enough players behind the ball. I said it will not continue. We won't win these 3 games, and we won't. I didn't say we'd lose them, but I knew we wouldn't win them. And we drew 2 out of 3 games where most people thought we were going to get 9 points. And to be honest, it's been downhill since then. The same players were continuously used in the Europa League. It wasn't good against Copenhagen. It went to extra time against a team that probably won't survive in the Premier League. Then we got beat by Sevilla. Then the new season started, and he's still stuck. If you look back to the very first game, okay, Dan James actually started the first game, but he subbed him at half-time, and then he stuck with that team for a while, which was the same team. By half-time against Crystal Palace, it was Greenwood and Rashford on the flanks with Marshall up top, and then Bruno and Pogba in the middle. And what is absolutely frightening, we got beat by Palace 3-1 with that lineup. We got beat 6-1 by Spurs with that lineup. Unbelievably, do you know what? It might have been a good thing if we'd have lost to Brighton, because we should have lost to Brighton. But that's just.
Imagine if we did. You'd have to sack him then, wouldn't you?
Island. It's a little bit of an island where you get to, and we've actually got the points. But they hit the woodwork 5 times.
We were lucky.
They line up again. We were just so lucky to win it. It was ridiculous, just ridiculously lucky. So that same team was poor last season. It's poor this season. He then changed it. Got a good win at Newcastle. Went with the back 5 at what's it? Didn't he? PSG, a good win.
Yeah.
But suddenly, back to it again. He used the same team against Chelsea, that he used against Newcastle, a lot of people were up in arms about it. But then against Arsenal, he's gone back to Greenwood and Rashford. He's gone back to Pogba and Bruno. And it would look, you've got to hold your hands up. We were worse yesterday than we were against Chelsea.
Oh, 100 times worse, yeah.
Oh, he's got these blinkers on, like one of the fans. I don't blame the fans for thinking those players are all the best players, but I don't think Ollie should be thinking that. It's ridiculous.
Just to come back on you on that, Ricky, as well. I mean, look, you mentioned basically had a best 11 and he stuck with it and he ran it into the ground and we ran out of petrol against Sevilla and sort of we got over the line just, didn't we, against Leicester? Yeah. This season, he's like he's picking the team drunk. He couldn't pick the same 11 if he tried. He just doesn't want to do it. And that's difficult. That's another reason for the fans to be confused, because I'm confused, is why did he was a manager that was picking his best 11 and this season he refuses to do it, whether he wins 5-0 or whether he's, won 4-1 or done well in PSG. All right, there's a formational change from PSG, but the team at home at Leipzig against Leipzig was 4-4-2 diamond. And then yesterday it was 4-4-2 diamond, but changes the players. I mean, Matic should have started. I thought that was one of the biggest things. Why do you think he's, how can you be consistent when